Women who struggled to enjoy receiving oral, but now love it. What changed? The man giving it LMAO. Truth. My ex was really bad at oral. He would try to open my vagina, like he was my ob or something. I recall refusing oral when I met my now boyfriend. He was like, HMOK. And after sex he asked why, and I told him. He pulled me across the bed and gave me my first oral orgasm after that. Life is too short to have bad sex, ladies. He would try to open my vagina, like he was my ob or something. I cackled. Why can I picture this so vividly lol, TF. Lmo they learn it from porn I feel. It seems like something you'd do for a camera that doesn't actually feel good. It doesn't even look good for the camera. Definitely the person, and also finally figured out what felt enjoyable. I was always so weirded out by the thought and sensation of a tongue on that part of my body. Definitely TMI, but some men eat it like they're afraid to get their face wet, and I'm sorry, but if you aren't in that like a rapidly melting triple scoop cone of your favorite flavor, then it just feels sterile. But mostly being comfortable enough with the person to say A for effort. But now let's go for technicals. Yes, men who are hungry for it are just. How did you get past the weirded out feeling though? Hope that's not a TMI ask. I'm struggling. Mostly finding a position I felt safe in. Turns out for me, I like to sit on top, so I can move away if my mind gets away from me. The person's oral hygiene also turned out to be a big factor, go figure. I don't want your nasty fuzzy tongue on lips north or south. And asking for different touches words I use are flatten, broader, all over or top or bottom, or full mouth, cause I don't like pointy feelings. Pointy is the worst. Like a damn snake's tongue. Right, like stop sneaking around, like you're stealing frosting, and get some cake face. I feel like Lizzo would very much approve of this comment. I stopped being self-conscious about it. In the past I felt pressured about having to enjoy oral, which made the experience more nerve-wracking than sensual. However, I wasn't used to the sensation, and it took some mental adjusting for it to start feeling pleasurable. Also, my previous partner had an aversion to bodily fluids, which made me feel guilty to even ask. So if it didn't start feeling good within 3 minutes during the few oral encounters we did have, I'd get so self-conscious I'd ask him to stop. Would you mind elaborating more on how you got past oral feeling weird and not pleasurable? I've been receiving oral for a few years from a few partners, and I do not understand why it doesn't feel good to me but masturbation does. When I'm receiving I feel anxious or uncomfortable, because I know I'm about to feel uncomfortable for a few minimum, and have to mentally battle to hopefully direct my partner to do something that feels good. But it never does. It blows my mind, not in a good way. I got past this by improving my mental health generally. I used to feel self-conscious and not able to relax during sex, which really limited my ability to enjoy the feeling of it. I still enjoyed it, but less so than now, to the point of orgasm being rare and difficult, whereas now it's pretty easy and happens most of the time. A flare-up of work-related anxiety forced me to seek help with my mental health. For me this was through online CBT and mindfulness meditation. As a result, my anxiety about most things in life is currently at much lower levels, notably in work/social situations/appearance etc. An unexpected bonus is that I enjoy sex more and worry less about e.g. what I look like when enjoying oral/sex in general. Just want to add that, for me, feeling self-conscious during sex was absolutely nothing to do with a problem with my partner. He has always been loving, complimentary, supportive and great in bed. I just had some work to do on myself so that I could fully let my guard down. The person didn't change, but his technique did. Also, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, it's just that he took too damn long doing it. I would go from horny, to excited, to bored, to sleepy. I just remember my head getting closer to my pillow. It took over a decade for me to tell my husband, as I didn't wanna say your kissing makes me drowsy. And my girlfriends were no help. I would ask them for advice and they would mock me for the big problem I had. Lol. How did he learn what to improve? I had a similar problem with my partners in the past, judging from their reactions, though we never really talked about the specifics. I stopped trying to be nice and started just telling the dude exactly what I liked and didn't. And if the guy took it hard or didn't listen, I just never spoke to him again. You are an inspiration. I was scared to get so relaxed I might fart on my BF husband now. Well, I said peep it, I'm telling him, and once I did I stopped being so nervous and never farted on him. This was one of my biggest fears, if the time ever came. I met someone I genuinely care for, and who cares about me. Plus, he's pretty good at it. Or what? For me it was definitely getting to know me, my body and how I like to be touched, what felt good and what didn't. When I first started sexual relations I would be too ashamed to talk during sex. Now I try to communicate with my partner and lead them to how I feel the most pleasure. It's a process, and the person doing it really has a big part in whether I'll be good or not. Thank you. My husband loves giving oral and actively expressed how much he wanted to go down on me. Never made me feel guilty when it would take a while, and always have me reassurance when I was self-conscious about my smell or taste. I got more comfortable with it in general, and then was happy to oblige when he wanted to do it. It always felt great, but wasn't necessarily something I would miss. As time progresses, he learned what I liked and everything started to feel amazing. He got his tongue pierced, and that was a game changer. I'm a huge fan. Good lord. I never even considered suggesting a tongue adds to to-do list. I also used to feel anxious that I'm taking a long time to come and my partner must be tired. I started thinking all this even before the act started. This made me tense up. I learned how to let go. At that other queen and you are being pleasured. It is your time to enjoy. Thinking this ways helps me. I had the same thing. I would just worry about needing to orgasm and then tied myself to the expectation and need to do it. It consumed me. One day I decided that peep it. You know what, I'm giving up on the orgasm expectation and I'm just going to enjoy sex for the intimacy it provides. So I did that. I focused on enjoying the journey and boom, I started having orgasms. I'm at a point right now where I really don't care if I do or don't. I focus on the journey and my feelings towards my partner. I also try to focus on the feel of the touch. I found a partner I could trust and that enjoyed going down on me. I didn't feel gross for having a vagina with him. Struggle isn't the word I would use, but I wasn't accustomed to it. I've been in 2 serious relationships and they just never offered, and I never asked. However, realizing that I haven't explored much outside of that, I started to experiment with new partners. The experience taught me that I enjoy seeing my partners pleased. So as I allowed for more opportunities to push my own comfort, I discovered that receiving and giving oral at the same time was definitely a must now for future relationships. This took 24 years to finally allow myself to be open to asking for it. Just a few days ago my girlfriend and I tried 69 for the first time ever. And we both decided it wasn't our thing, lol. It's very hard to concentrate. That's totally fine if it isn't for you. I would honestly say that if I chose a favorite position, it would be a different position with every partner I was with because every single one of them were better or more comfortable with the way they did it. It was mental for me and extreme discomfort with sex, pleasure, and the way I looked from being raised in a fundamentalist religion. First I deconstructed my beliefs about sex and pleasure. Then I worked on body confidence and mindfulness/relaxation and being in the moment. Once I got good with all of that, it got easier and better. My husband's been great for me in all of those steps too. I remember a pastor once saying in a talk to men that the principle he felt should be followed was one of acting in a way that honored the dignity of the other person. He would not be into ravaging, slapping, or very unusual positions or actions. His idea was that each person should focus on giving genuine pleasure to the other person in a way that the recipient would feel respected, honored, appreciated/valued, and safe. That sounded pretty good to me. That left open the possibility for different couples to like different things without feeling like they were doing something wrong. And the dignity principle gave a really nice focus for the activity together, enabling both partners to feel safe, trust, enjoy and give of themselves. Okay. Better partner lol. And drink pineapple juice. Eat cucumber. Can you explain? Which part? Eating well and more fruits makes your pussy taste better. So you might enjoy oral more if you feel confident about your vagina. I thought the pineapple juice was for men's semen. Well, either way, guess I'm set for myself too. I thought I didn't like it as my ex convinced me that I didn't. So after we broke up I finally got head and was like, oh yeah, I love that speep. I gave it to another woman and saw how truly amazing it is. Made me be able to relax and receive it much better. My new boyfriend actually knew where the clit was. My partner. Not that my other partners were particularly bad, but I have a stronger connection with my current one, and therefore it makes oral even better. TBH, most people are just not that good at cunnilingus. Or at least, they could be a lot better if they would take direction better. I'll also say that most men in particular seem to be uncomfortable with sucking on a clit as opposed to licking it. Maybe because they think it seems phallic/gay or something. But that's what tends to work the best for me. Gentle licking doesn't do a ton for me. My husband has been the only one to make it pleasurable. I got comfortable with the fact that it takes me a while to orgasm. Stopped feeling bad for partners needing to stay down there a while. They want to do it. They like giving me pleasure. And if they need a break they can always stop. Fortunately, once I stopped worrying about it, I was actually able to get off more quickly. My partner. My previous boyfriends were not so good at it until I met my current boyfriend/spouse of the last 7 years. It was good to the point where I would ask him to stop before climax because the sensation was overwhelming. During those few months, he also figured out what I liked/did not like. I asked him, out of frustration and by curiosity, to tie me up and keep going at it. I finally climaxed and well, I never looked back. Is it strange that there are no upvotes for comments? Any other post with these many comments would have gotten so many upvotes on top comments as well. Why? Is it BCZ it's Ask Women? Votes don't show up until after a certain amount of time has passed, so people aren't biased by other votes. I'll confirm similar things to what other people have said. At first I had a lot of common hang-ups, but I had to be able to relax and tell my partner clearly and in the moment when I like or dislike something they are doing. If I really want to please my partner, why wouldn't I want to hear from her what she liked and didn't like, what I was doing right and wrong? Short-term correction and possible embarrassment is certainly worth the long-term giving of greater pleasure to the one whose life experiences matter to me. They put in as much effort as giving a blowjob. The man changed. I started playing with my body more and discovered at last what an orgasm is. Later on I read, "Come as you are," and it was a revolution for me in the bedroom. Okay, so I hated getting oral, but I loved giving it. My favorite thing. So one night I was giving my husband some, and he decided to start touching me, and then eventually moved on to giving me oral. IDKY. Maybe I was in the moment and just let myself enjoy it. I'm still a little weirded out by it, but not as bad now. A lot of trust and self-love. Plus the right man to do it. I always put too much pressure on myself, because it's supposed to be this wonderful magical orgasm creator and that just doesn't work all the time. Honestly, watching the Key and Peele sketch with my partner took a lot of pressure off. We had new ways to talk about it, and there was more laughing and less expectation. I'll say I still don't enjoy oral unless there's penetration with fingers as well. I've had better and worse partners, but I just accepted it's not for me. If you think the feeling is good, but are having issue with being comfortable, that's another story. I just felt like the feeling was lacking. Didn't feel bad, but it's not going to go anywhere for me. If a guy is eating it, like he is starving, I know he is enjoying it. and I love it. But if it's some timid guy going through some motions down there, I feel self-conscious and hate it. As a virgin who has never even kissed anyone, I can't speak from personal experience, LMAO. But I think that a lot of women don't enjoy receiving oral because growing up they were conditioned to believing that sex is an activity that's primarily centered around the man's pleasure, so they never stop to think about their own. And if they finally do end up in situations where their pleasure is made an equal priority, they feel selfish for it, or it just feels unnatural to them. It's not easy to unlearn particular ways of thinking if you've thought that way for a long time. Confidence. The right partner. The partner. Toby finally answered White's question. Uses his T think about purple elephants. Now what am I going to think about today? Problem wasn't with the partner, it was with me. Due to molestation and a very abusive mother who, among other things, had me convinced anything besides the missionary position after marriage was disgusting and whorish, I did not enjoy sex, especially oral. Thank God my partner, now my long-term husband, was patient as a saint and very supportive. It started by talking a lot. Before, during and after sex. He wanted to go down on me, to not only speed things up but also he wanted to please me and hopefully get a few extra blowjob in too. He got me to talk about how I felt and got me to actually verbally tell him what worked better and what didn't. Everyone is shaped different, so not all techniques work on everyone. It also didn't help I was somewhat medically frigid. I wasn't getting very much physical pleasure, and it took a hell of a lot of work to get that. Far more than normal. That took a mental toll as I felt there was something really wrong with me, that I was jumping in the sack every 5 minutes and having an orgasm 10 seconds after he sticks it in. Movies and TV shows suck. We started watching porn together. That actually helped. Not an everyday thing or even crazy stuff. Hell, we even looked for odd ones. Edward Penitence is still my fav. But once in a while, it actually did wonders for my self-esteem. Have you really looked at porn stars? Almost always fake boobs. I have sent knockers. And frankly, my down under looked a whole lot better than a lot of theirs. I also started shaving. Not razor shaving, but just the little personal electric one that will leave a hint of stubble. It only takes a few minutes every other week, and no ingrown hairs. I loved it. No more shifting underwear pulling at the wrong moment. I felt so much cleaner during my periods. But also that seems to help wake me up. The talking, the porn, the playing around we started to do when getting frisky to make it more fun and less lol work. It all came together. We have far better sex now than in our young years, and it almost always involves some oral on one or both parts. I'm getting more used to the idea. I find if I'm not just overall stressed about it happening, I still don't often feel much stimulation even in moments I do want it. I got a womanizer that helps me get used to the idea of just imaging someone doing it. I couldn't even fantasize about it beforehand, and when I did manage to, I felt like an idiot for some reason. When it comes to the sensitivity issue, I find weed can help make me feel more when someone actually is. Though maybe it's because even when I think I'm relaxed, I'm not, and the weed just calms me down enough. The last time someone went down on me though was pre-pandemic, so I haven't been able to exactly know for sure. The man. He listened to how my body reacted to different things he did and then focused on those things. He also remembered what I had told him in conversation felt good, and he used that information. He listened. My first kiss, the guy did a bunch of stuff to me without my consent. Oral was part of it. He then bullied me publicly throughout high school for having a bush. I was 14 and tasting bad again. 14-year-old virgin. And every guy I've been with until now has been a baby about oral and said it's gross and they refuse to do it. Then I met my current BF. Oh boy. He wanted me to sit on his face. He really enjoyed going down on me. I was and still am self-conscious about it. So many times I wouldn't let him. But when I'm feeling okay and say yes, he makes me feel so good. He didn't bite. Yes, the man doing it matters a lot. Also, if you have insecurities and can't relax, you just need to convince yourself that they actually enjoy doing it, so you shouldn't worry about them or feel awkward. When I realized men can actually enjoy giving oral, and not just doing it to get it in return. I love my wife's smell and taste. She even tells me good boy after her legs start to shake. Started dating women. Definitely agree with it depends greatly on who is giving it. I also realize that in order to orgasm, you have to physically work at it with your own body. At least I do. Very simply, meeting a partner rightfully, wholeheartedly trusted. As a dumbfound woman, I kinda want to know what the partner do. I don't like it. Cause I only received what felt like what dogs look like when drinking water. Not that pleasant or hot. You gotta communicate how you like to receive oral. Some guys get with girls who like it in a certain way and then think all girls like the same thing. Just tell them what to do or mayo.